Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to BSG 30. Apologies for the delays there. We're already behind schedule because tech issues, you know. A few quick things that I want to mention before we get started with our first run. We, as always, are going to be raising money for the Dutch Cancer Society. All of your donations will go towards them. There will be some incentives, though most of them will be thrown live during the first run. We were dealing with tech issues, so we don't really have most of them live yet. We have like one of them live. So there is one there for, I believe, Metal Gear Solid for later tonight, our closer for today. So it's there, but we'll get the rest in before the end of Metroid, that's for sure. And I'll keep you guys posted on that. And I think with that, we're just going to get started with Metroid. Again, apologies. There are still some issues that I think they're dealing with, but we're getting there. So, yeah, have at it for Boxmeister.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you can see, my game feed looks a little bit weird, so we'll get into the game as soon as we can. Is tech ready on the timer? Okay, can I get a countdown from Tech? We'll just wait a sec. It's fine. Just relaxed as always. Very relaxed bunch of dudes and dudettes. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Metroid Fusion, ladies and gentlemen. A very text-based Metroid games, as there's a lot of text from the computer that guides you towards various locations on the ship. Basically, story goes that you've been infected by a parasite. They removed the parasite from you. You actually gotten immune to it. That's interesting coloring for my ship. Wow. But the parasite has invaded the ship, and you get sent to complete several objectives. And oh my god, I nailed the climb. That's a very technical part where you have to, because you can wall jump off walls, but they have to be very precise, and then you can scale the platforms in that room rather quickly. And we get immediately into our next text-based objective. Basically, there has been up until now, it's unknown that the parasites have invaded the ship, but we're sent to check the quarantine bay of this biological space laboratory, because what better place for a biological laboratory than a meteorite in space? And I totally missed the shots there.
Let me know when you have time for a first donation, because we actually already got one.
Go ahead. We're entering text.
We just got €5 from Future Force 14 saying, "Save Merle!" And I think I have an idea where that donation incentive, or where that donation went to.
Yeah, Save Merle is from Metal Gear Solid, if I remember correctly. So here we get the info form that, well, we got operated on, parts of our suit got removed since they got infected by the parasites, the X-parasites. And X-parasites, they infect a creature, copy it, kill the creature, and it will turn into an exact copy in a bit of a more monstrous form. So what we're... basically right now we only have shots, we can't morph, we don't have missiles or anything. So our survival chances are only 10% at most, according to the computer. So we're gonna get sent to an upgrade. We're gonna get the missiles, which should raise it to 20%. And yeah, missiles and beams will be used to kill most of the big creatures in this game. So we'll get sent to a data room because our new suit can actually download upgrades. It's almost like your regular Windows install. Heck, it even has a very blue appearance. Even more blue so than usual, I should say. It's lovely. So you may note that I'm playing on the Japanese version. The text on Japanese version alone saves 3 minutes real time. The game leaderboard, however, goes by in-game time, because the in-game timer for Fusion is pretty accurate. And it's the best way to measure performance in the game, both on emulator and on console. Unfortunately, the in-game timer doesn't have any seconds, so in-game times go by minutes. For example, I have a 50 world record is 44. in-game time. And there are RTA differences due to the text alone, because text meshing is a skill, unfortunately. So you could have a very bad RTA and a really good IGT purely because you're bad at text meshing or other way around. So the elevator got blocked by a big creature, big collection of X-parasites. So we get sent to investigate. We pick up some more missile tanks along the way. We'll be picking up 50 missiles, 45 missiles total. And that's more than enough to kill most bosses. No doubles on the either, unfortunately. If you do the setup properly, you can get 2 missiles into one Idor phase, which skips a phase. And then you have 2 Idor phases instead of 3. So we get onto our first boss, Arachnus. Well, Arachnus is basically spam missiles into it and hope he doesn't roll. Unfortunately, he rolled, which is always a thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I'll deal with it. Unfortunately, due to the colors being a little bit off, it's hard to detect the difference between yellow and green axes, but we'll deal with it. So as you can see, Arachnus goes by pretty quickly. He gives us the Morph Ball upgrade. So we have a classic Morph Ball back, and now we can enter tunnels and all the likes.
Can I do another donation real quick?
Go ahead.
We just got €1.69 from Nandi saying, "See you soon."
Ah, he'll be visiting. Lovely. So right now we defeated the boss, and we think, well, that's the only collection of X-parasites that escaped from Quarantine Bay. But unfortunately, the computer is about to inform us that they kind of invaded all the different sectors, biological sectors in this laboratory. And each of these sectors is a different environment. So you have an environment like planet SR388, which the laboratory is in orbit over. You have an ice sector, a heat sector, a water sector, an aquatic sector as it's known, a nocturnal sector, and a jungle sector, I believe. I think that's all of them. But yeah, we get sent to one of the sectors since the X-parasites invaded it, and we're gonna try and solve it. So we get on this elevator towards the other sectors, but here is where the game gets a little bit creepy. Because X-parasites can infect any creature and copy it. Well, we survived. But there is an X-parasite copy. And this part is really scary as a kid, not gonna lie. That soulless eyes, really. but it's cool. This game really sets a great atmosphere throughout the game through the use of images and music. I can really recommend it. Unfortunately, the thing with Metroid Fusion is, however, that it's really linear, because you get sent by the commands of the navigation room, and it blocks off all other parts. So it's not as free in exploration as, for example, Zero Mission or Super Metroids. But it's nonetheless a very technical game. So yeah, the X-parasites in the sector invaded the so-called ventilation shafts in order to raise the heat to reproduce a little bit better. Well, we're just gonna clear the ventilations here in this sector. This sector is really missile intensive, so you need to be on the top of your ammo management. Well, this is the first of these ventilators we're gonna clear. Whoa, I actually made that. Nice. Okay. And I have no idea what kind of X-parasites I'm picking up, but it looks good. Ah, almost got the good trick. Nice. still good room. You want to be on maximum health or close to it as much as you can in the sector, because then the enemies will only drop green axes, which refill your missiles. Because I actually really need a lot of missiles. Right now I picked up good amounts, so I should be fine for the rest of the sector. Nice thing about the eye doors right before the bosses is that they drop red X's, which refill your missiles and health. Yeah, I'm at max health. 15 missiles, I should make it. Because if you run out of missiles at the point right before the boss door, then yeah, that's not fun, because you have to farm missiles then. That was awful aim, but okay. That's another ventilator cleared. So this is another climb. And these space pirate copies are annoying. Because they can decide to randomly jump from wall to wall, but luckily they're nice today. 13 missiles is more than enough. I need 3 to open the eye door right before the boss. And I have plenty to spare, really, because the eye door is in this room. And this is the last eye door for which you can also set up doubles using advanced setup. After this we get upgrades where we can kill the eye doors in a single shot. Nope, no dice. But luckily not too many beams between the patterns. The more beams the eye door takes, the longer it takes to open it, and that's pure RNG. No doubles on this beam core. Beam cores are a little bit different. Because you need to shoot the missiles in the eye. So right now we got the charge beam upgrade. And the charge beam upgrade is one of the most broken upgrades in this game. Because your beam now consists of 3 parts. 2 shot parts. And the flare near your cannon when you shoot the charge shot. And you can use that flare to kill bosses a little bit faster in this game. So that's another ventilator clear. What we did there, we clipped into the ventilator to kill it instead of walking all around it. Oh, you may notice that I'm doing a lot of shots before landing. What if I am in spin jump, so my jump spins instead of jumping straight up? Then I shoot, I get put a pixel lower. So basically that saves me a pixel if I do it properly every time I land. And that can save up over the course of the run. So it's really a optimization. Charging the charge beam through the door, holding the charge beam through the door automatically means that it's charged once you exit the door transition. And that's also a technique we use in multiple rooms to kill an enemy as soon as we enter the room. Because if you let go of it during the door transition, it'll fire the fully charged shot the moment you the first frame you exit out of the door transition. So we killed all the ventilators, the fans. That was the word I was looking for. But unfortunately, the X-Parasites managed to invade to another sector. Sector 2. So yeah, Sector 1, movement intensive on top of your ammo. Sector 2 is already a lot more lenient. It doesn't come down to ammo, it comes more down to staying alive, really. We'll get to that. Most of the gameplay is broken up by the fact that you have to exit out of a sector and enter into a different one using the elevator. So it's really a time to collect your thoughts, get your nerves down, relax. So it's, in that sense, a very relaxing run, but it also is a lot of fluff, dead parts of the run, really. But we optimized it to a certain extent, as you will see later in the run. Deck smashing itself is also really hard. You can mash, or you can time the presses. You have to double press A to get to the next box and get it on maximum speed, because you need to hold A to let the text advance quicker. It really, I use a timing method. Some people use a mashing method. If you're used to the text, then you can really time it. And here you see the charge shot. I let go of the shot during the transition and it fires. And each sector starts like that, so with a navigation room, a safe room and a recharge room. These enemies here deal 45 HP of damage. And that's almost half an E-Tech, and I currently have 2 in total. So yeah, you can take a lot of damage in this area. So it's all about timing your shots. The first one with the charge shot is kind of easy. The second one with the 2 missiles you have to fire in short succession is a lot more difficult, really. It is an art in and of itself. So I charge the shot, kill the first, and this is really good pattern to fire the 2 missiles, because if the Zoro, as these red worms are called, crawl away from you, it's a lot easier to get the 2 missiles in instead of when it's crawling towards you, because that shortens your effective hitbox, basically. It takes practice to get that properly down. So yeah, a little bit more backstory. We identified our doppelganger, which we saw earlier. It's called the SAX, after our protagonist Samus Aran, SA, and X-Parasite, X. But basically, we need to open a security level to get to the data room, to get more upgrades, to be able to survive against the SCX. Because the SCX has the unfortunate ability that she's us, but at full power. So all the upgrades like Plasma Beam that does a ton of damage. So yeah, we're in no shape to fight the SCX right now. So if we see the SCX currently, then it's a matter of running to stay alive.
Mind if I do another donation here?
Go ahead.
We just got 25 euros from Proximus69 saying, I'm new to BSG. I hope this will help. Keep up the good work and good luck to all the runners.
So yeah, this section is a lot more lenient in terms of ammo management. What I tried to do there was an unmorph and wall jump over those red pancakes, as we call them. Pancakes of Doom. But I am fine health-wise, really. I have 80 health left from the looks of it. We're almost at the boss where we get a refill, and we can clear the eye door in one shot this time, since we have the charge beam. So if we fire the charge beam at point-blank range, all 3 parts will hit, and basically the eye door dies in a single hit. But for safety, I'll pick up this E-Tank. It's a really free one to pick up. And eye door RNG was nice to me. No beams, no beams. So we get this next boss, Zazubi. This creature, well, it's random how much it jumps before you can fire shots into it. It has a minimum of 3, a maximum of 12 if you don't screw up any faces. One. Oh yeah, I get a lot of jumps here. Something in the 8 or 7 jumps range, and this phase is always 1 jump, and I missed the shot. No doubles. What you can do on these cores, you can time your missile shot, and in order to that 2 missiles hit simultaneously, and that also skips a phase. Unfortunately, I missed those because my setup, I messed up my setup. But it still got down. So we got the bombs. We have a way to get out of the sector with our newly acquired high jump and jump ball skills. So right now we're gonna get a little bit up close with our doppelganger, really. Because the SCX is in this room. Oh, we're not gonna confront it. You can, if you're really good, then you can jump over her shots and get out of this room a little bit earlier. But you really don't want to run into her because she can, well, her first shot will freeze you, but her second shot will definitely kill you. It's really hard to dodge. In 100% you can tank the hit and then continue. But in any percent we don't do that. That's really dangerous strat. Gonna do this route. What you may note from those cocoons, if you jump into the side of them with enough speed to clear it to the top, you get put on top of them. So some weird programming oversight. It's a little tidbit that we use to optimize our movements. But unfortunately, with opening the security levels, the other sectors become available to us, but also to the X-Parasites. So we're gonna get sent to Sector 4 to clear those. So yeah, up until now we've been going through them in numerical order, but now we go from 1 to 2, we go from 2 to 4. So yeah, you can count on that. So Sector 4 is where things get a little bit interesting. Sector 4 is one of my favorites because it's a really movement-intensive sector. Doing it optimally is really fun to do. Sector 4 is also the only one of the sectors where the navigation room, save room, recharge room extend towards the left into the sector instead of to the right. So if you're on autopilot, it has happened to multiple runners at times that on autopilot they run towards the right instead of to the left and run into the wall. Which is a bit of a shame. Sector 4 is the aquatic sector, so lots of water. But there are live wires into the water, so you get electrified if you enter it at certain points. What I did there was a shot cancel to reset my vertical velocity, and that gives me a little bit more horizontal distance with that jump. What you'll see me do here is use R to shoot my charge shot, and that means that I won't break out of spin. Which is a technique we use several times in the run. A little bit of optimal movement here. Normally you go... the intended strat is to use the bars above to climb across the gap, but it's much faster to go through the water like I did. We use wall jumps here for good effect as well, as it's much faster to use wall jumps than it is to climb those ladders by itself. Wall jumps in this game can't be used on a single wall to gain height extensively, like in Super Metroid or Zero Mission, because you get boosted off the wall, but it's still useful in some segments to gain height, especially if you have two parallel walls close to one another. Oh, here we get another boss. This boss does high-speed attacks. Here we make use of the charge beam properties, and I missed the first shot because one of the parts went out. If you get the full beams in, then it takes 2 shots. Otherwise, it takes more. With a little bit of luck, I'm gonna get a 3 rounds. But the patterns, Ceres, the name of this boss, is a bit fixed. It's a matter of pattern recognition. I know what he's gonna do because of his first move. And timing this. Okay, we're gonna... okay, that's a double. Whew. Okay, yeah, this fight can go south really quickly. If you fall into the water, it's gonna be tough to do it really quickly. But luckily, I still managed to stay on the platforms. Here I'm gonna use my newly gained Speed Booster. Speed Booster makes you run really fast after a certain while. And you can store that energy and release it in a so-called Shine Spark, like I did there. Shine Sparking can be a bit slow, because it has a startup animation and a bonking animation. Most of the time we prefer to go for normal Speed Booster or a Speed Booster in combination with a later upgrade. I'll get to that. First of all, we can now access the pump room to pump the water away so that we can actually exit this sector. I'm doing a Shine Spark here to get through the wall again instead of having to go through the bottom and climb up again. Much faster. And here I'm gonna go for something... Ooh, yeah, I got it. Okay, there is a well-timed Shine Spark which is called a low-height Shine Spark. And what you can do with the low-height Shine Spark, you spark 1 pixel off the ground and then you fit exactly in that tunnel. And that saves you having to recharge your Shine Spark there. So it's a really cool setup. And because each sector starts with a recharge room, save room and navigation room, we always charge a Shine Spark here. It's really useful. It's really useful for that. So you can enter and exit each sector with a Shine Spark. And you may think, okay, entering fine, but why exit? Well, we have the startup animation, but we skip the bonking animation by just jumping on the slope, start running, and then jump on top of the elevator platform. It's really a minor time save. The elevator hub here is also a part where we can extensively use speed boosts to get across. If you let go of the directional button, you start sliding while in Shine Spark form. So what we usually want to do is jump and land on the elevator platform. And then you can immediately go down the elevator instead of sliding across the elevator. So, Sector 3, we got sent over there. We need another upgrade, and it's behind the security level once again. So we're gonna open that first and then get around. Sector 3 is the heated sector. So we get advised to not enter the ultra-heated rooms. And luckily we don't need to go there. But here we're gonna see the first instance of using a speed booster to go quickly through a sector, because you build up the speed booster here and then you basically crash through all these platforms. What you can do, but what's really hard to do, is the moment you jump out of a speed booster and you land, you have 1 frame to charge that that speed boost actually. And yeah, you can use it to Shine Spark again, and you can do that to save a couple of seconds here, I believe. But it's nearly frame perfect. I think it's even frame perfect. Not advised. So now we open the security level, so it's a matter of getting to the data room. Now, a few rooms from now, we'll see a missile tank, and that used to be a nearly unskippable missile tank, I should add. We called it Bob. Bob is the reason that the longest time the low percent category for Metro Fusion was called 1%. Because you had to pick up at the very least this missile tank, due to the way it's located. However, we found recently an easy out of bounds clip was found where you can use clip out of bounds and clip around the missile platform to skip it. Up until that point, you could do a very advanced Shine Spark setup with only 7 frames of error on your movements. It's really tough one. It has been done only a handful of times on console by different people. It's really, really impressive feat. But since the clip got found, 0% category became a thing. Really challenging category since you only have your health and missiles. Unlike other low percent categories, your main upgrades don't count towards the item percentage, so you can't skip major upgrades. So that's in your favor, because that means that you're still at nearly full battle power. Okay. This mini-boss flees away. He's called Box. The Biolab security robot or something. Well, we'll see him again later. But there can be only one Meister in Box that calls himself Meister, and that's the one playing the game. Really. The upgrade we picked up, by the way, is Super Missile. So now our missiles do 3 times the amount of damage. The unfortunate part about this is that the missiles fly faster, so it's harder, and you have a longer cooldown time between the missiles. So that means that's a lot harder to use the missiles to double. It's harder to do doubles on the core beam on the core X fights. Because pairing them together is a lot harder since they fly fast and they could have a long cooldown. It is doable for each and every missile upgrade that you have. I messed up that, but that's fine. So we get sent towards the nocturnal sector now, but you notice right now that there's some external thing going on. We're a bounty hunter in working for the Galactic Federation, and there's something going on in the background. We don't know what yet, but we'll find out later. So, Sector 6. The reason we get sent to Sector 6 in this game first is because Sector 5 is the Arctic sector, so it's really cold in there. Because the way we survived the X-Parasite encounter is through a vaccine made from the last Metroid. And Metroids are susceptible to cold, so basically we became a part Metroid. And because we're part Metroid, we can absorb the X-Parasites, get our abilities back this way from the bosses, etc. But there are also blue X-Parasites in this sector, and if you absorb them in my current state, they will get damaged by them. And that's why our next upgrade is going to be the Varia suit, which gives us temperature resistance. And then we're safe from them. So we get sent to the data room in order to download the Varia suit upgrade. Oh, here you see the blue axes. Luckily, they can be stunned using your beam. Most of the sectors is about movement. Use a little shortcut there. That blue axe can get in your way. And this shine spark is ooh, almost got the bomb. If I would have laid the bomb a little bit off the ground, then I could immediately continue.
So Box, since it seems to be a bit more of a quiet part, mind if I go over the incentives real quick, because we hadn't actually done that yet.
Go ahead.
So all of the incentives are now live. That's first and foremost. We have them all fixed up for you guys. So the first one's actually coming up relatively soon for Disney's Tarzan later on today. We have the Save All Monkeys incentive. That's sitting at 60 euros. For the Digimon Adventure Devimon % run, there is the Japanese song Butterfly during the opening cutscenes. And for 75 euros, the runner will sing along with it. Well, we have the earlier mentioned Save Meryl or Otakon. Currently, Save Meryl is already building up a massive lead here, being 31 euros and 69 cents in the lead over Save Otakon. For tomorrow, we've got a few incentives as well. We've got a couple of name incentives on Pokemon Gold for the rival name, the Totodile name, and the trainer name. We have an actual extra category that you can add at the Digimon Racing run, where he's already doing Aqua %, Perilous %, and Urban %. But you can actually also add Boss % for another 100 euros. And then on the closing run, there'll be the Help or Don't Help the Mustache Kit run, incentives where you can bid between either helping or not helping the mustache kid at the very end of the run. So yeah, that's what we've got for donation incentives for you guys. We may or may not add another one or two throughout the event, but we'll keep you guys posted if we do. But yeah, good luck with the incentives.
Good timing. I just got the fire suit. This is another one of the bosses where in the first phase you can use the charge beam components to do maximum damage and clear it in 4 shots. I missed one, unfortunately, but we got the fire suit. So now, at first, the blue X parasites try to attack you and do damage to you, but you can now absorb them, and they actually heal more health than the yellow ones. So that's useful. Now the X parasites can download the upgrades as well. Turns out. Luckily, we still got our upgrade back. And the annoying thing is this sector is now filled with enemies, and you have these blue puffer-like enemies. If you damage them, they spout. Their hitbox expands to, well, something that's really tough to dodge, really. So they can really get in your way. You need to move around them. Luckily, the patterns I've gotten so far are kind of okay. Pick up a missile pack. And we're out of the sector already. Time flies when you're having fun, really. So now that we're heat and cold resistant, thanks to our fire suit, which is, by the way, one of the worst colored suits out of the Metroid series, you can now go to Sector 5 to download more stuff. Since the data room in this sector got destroyed, we need go to Sector 5 to download more upgrades. So we get sent over there, lots of Japanese text explaining me what to do. I know what it says, roughly. So we're gonna get to that. So, elevator ride. And now we have to go from the one part of the elevator hub right to the other part. Luckily, the speed booster makes quick work of that. And another landing will be the result here. It is best if you land exactly on the platform so that you can press down and immediately go down. It can be a bit rough to time that. I kind of had to throw my setup around basically yesterday evening, so my input delay is 1 or 2 frames off, so I have trouble timing things at time. But I'll make it work, regardless. So Sector 5 is same story. We have to open a security level yet again, and then download an upgrade. That's a bit of optimization. Kill the enemy and such. Open the tunnel on the way down, and then shoot it open from the bottom. Right here we can just get most of the enemies in the way using the missiles and the charge beam. That will change soon. Hopefully the enemies are nice, because they can troll you in this. Yeah, that I was afraid that would happen. If you start running from a little bit from around there, the enemy can get in your way. But now I've started from a lot further away, so that basically guarantees that I'm in speed booster mode, and then the enemy can't do anything to me. Because you're basically invincible in speed booster states, more or less. So that's a useful thing. But of course it's faster to start it a little bit further to the right. But that's a bit of a risk due to the enemy placement. That's pure RNG, unfortunately. So, security level open. Next room after this, you see a lot of optimization to dodge the enemy patterns. Involves wall jumps, jumpings, jump timings. So here, shoot, do a pseudo screw attack. So basically, if you have a charge beam charged and you spin jump into an enemy, you do damage to it. For a lot of weaker enemies, it is an insta kill. Like the wafers and the gamers you saw there. And I also remember to actually go to the data room. One thing here, because Sector 5 is the most visited sector out of the 6 of them. But that also means that the runners sometimes get mixed up what they're about doing. Sometimes they forget that they still have to go to the data room and all that jazz. Or they think that they still need to open the security levels on a later visit. And that can have some hilarious results, because you need to pick up the upgrades before the story progresses. Because this game works with an event flag system, so you can't skip or forward anything unless you corrupt the memory. Which is a different category, to be honest. I'm currently doing the no memory corruption category. Which means we don't do any stuff that corrupts a memory to skip to the end to the game, basically. It's a relatively glitchless category. Relatively, because you can do glitches. The English version is actually the glitchier version. Because it was actually released earlier than the Japanese version. Little fun fact. Means that the English version has extra glitches. And also, and the Japanese version has some extra features. But the game goes into emergency mode, because there's an emergency in Sector 3. And basically, the Sector 3 is the heated sector, and the boilers in the sector, the power supply to the ship, is overheating. Someone has turned on the overheating, and we need to stop that before the whole space station explodes. So yeah, really important task at hand. Luckily, the Sector 3 elevator is right next to the Sector 5 elevator, so and 6 minutes is plenty to deal with that. We do it in less than 2, if all goes well. We don't have to stop at the navigation room this time, and it has happened on a few occasions that I accidentally stopped there. Don't do that if you're in this segment, because it's just a waste of time. RTA, in-game time doesn't really is not a problem, because in-game time is only running when you have movement control of Samus. Now we're headed down instead of up. A little bit low on missiles, but I should be able to make this work. Is that a green one? No. This segment is all about getting from place A to place B as quickly as you can. Luckily, we can use stretchies and freezing them to great effect. Hopefully, I can get that strat right. I did. That's good. And I actually have enough missiles left for this. Oh. I need to be careful. Come on. Ooh, that made it barely. Okay, you get out of the way. Thank you. That was a relatively good meltdowns segment. So this is another Beam Core X, and getting the doubles in is hard, but you're doing it while falling down. Oh, nice. Nice. I got the 2 doubles on the Beam Core X. That's good. And as you can see, timer started at 6 minutes and we got a 4:26, which is about as good as I can do it. even though I made a few mistakes. So I'm happy. I'm really happy with that. So now everything is cooled down and we get back to the navigation room to get our next mission, basically. For this dreadful space station. This part can be a little bit treacherous, because you can still take a lot of damage from the enemies. And that can get you into trouble really quickly. Those lava pillars you see there, sometimes it can happen that you get hit by them, but if you get hit by them, do it such that you can be boosted forwards instead of backwards. That would be best. Here we do a little bit of a freeze strat. Basically, we scroll the screen to freeze that stretchy earlier. Then we can use the frozen stretchies to climb a little bit faster. Ice missiles are most of the time annoying, however, since they, instead of killing the enemy in one shot, they now get frozen first. Which, for some parts, is really annoying. But that's why we got the white beam. That's why the white beam we got for the beam core just now is really useful, because that makes our beam, our charged beam, actually the strongest weapon. Missiles and beams trade the title of being the strongest weapon at a time in the game back and forth throughout the game. So the beam gets is strongest for the longest time until the missiles catch up, and then it changes back and forth. At the very end, both of them get. The charge beam is, however, the better one for the most part. So basically now we get sent to the observation deck, because some bias signals have been reported there, and we hope that it's one of the researchers who used to work on this laboratory. Most of them got killed by the X-parasites, unfortunately. But we're hopeful. We're gonna check that out. So we're back to the main deck. Luckily with Speed Booster we can speed this up a little bit. So we can just dash straight through the wall. And with high jump, doing this platforming is a lot easier. Oh. Doing a little bit of movement optimization there with the shot cancels and the wall jumps. What I'm gonna try and do here is skip having to freeze the bottom, having to wait for the bottom strategy by doing hopefully a good timed jump extend, but unfortunately I missed it by a few pixels, and at that point it's faster to just take the bottom stretchy. Here I'm gonna set up for another what's known as a shine break. So basically I get speed booster just as I pass over a block, and then I break the block and still make it over it. And animals, how quickly they get out of this room is RNG, so it can take you 5 seconds, it can take you 10 seconds. I believe at some occasions it can even take you 15 seconds. This is somewhere in the middle, say about 8, which is fine. I mean, I've had it happen a few times where it was instantaneous, basically, where it took 2 seconds at most. But it's RNG, we can't manipulate that, unfortunately, in this case, so I just have to deal with it. The Etacoons and Dakoras we encountered on Super Metroid, earlier game in the series, they actually made it to a ship. In some way, nobody knows how. They are the animals that you can save or kill at the end of Super Metroid. So right now we get sent back to Sector 5 to pick up another upgrade from the data room. This time it will be the power bombs. Really clear, and with the high jump, we can clear. Excuse me, clear. Okay, that wall jump was not cooperating. Uh, clear this part really quickly. But not before we pick up our last missile expansion, because after that we have all the missiles we need until the end of the run. We have now 45, a total missile capacity of 45. We're 6 missiles down due to the usage along the way. And those 45, the only reason we need that many missiles is because one of the bosses takes a lot of missiles, or at least it's faster if you kill that boss using missiles. Well, for a few actually, and you need a good number of missiles for that. There are parts where the charge beam is not as useful, mainly due to on the account of it taking a good while to charge. So we're getting sent towards the data room, and what we're gonna try and do here is set up a shine spark which gets us through the sector a little bit quicker. Unfortunately I got hit, so I lost the charge. But for this spark, that's okay. It's not as much of a difference. So we'll just have to deal with it. Suck it up. And this time, this is the part where it can get confusing. Some people are like, oh, I still have to open the security level, but you already opened that on your first visit, so you can go straight to the data room, get your power bombs, because that's what we're picking up here. Power bombs, well, they make interesting noise. They are used to clear power bomb blocks, and 10 is all you'll ever need, so you don't go out of your way to pick up any power bomb tanks in any percent. Any percent. That's an SAX encounter, but you didn't see it because we're much faster than the SAX. And luckily you get a red X there, so you always get a full refill with this amount of ammo at that point. But the SCX encounter, if you get hit by the beams, well, you're in trouble, really. Luckily, we expertly dodged that. Set up for this lovely speed booster here again. And make our way out of this sector as quickly as we can. SCX encounters are a bit notorious because mainly because the SCX is has a really dumb AI. The SCX is not very smart in this game. Let's put it that way. It's being presented in the game as a deadly predator, and definitely the SCX is powerful, but not really smart. So, with our upgrade picked up, the computer wants us to actually return to our ship to tell us something. We don't know what, so we're just gonna make our way to that. So, we'll get out of the sector and get towards the main elevator. And I'll check that later. I feel a lot of buzzes from my phone in my pocket. I'll see that later. So, to the ship, the main elevator. Well, the main elevator ride is a long one, but unfortunately for us, the elevator gets stuck because the ship is hit with a power outage. And here we use power bombs to great effect to open the blocks already. This room is a little bit of RNG. You can get hit by the spit from the enemies. But if you don't, well, you can use this speed booster and then you can skip a missile tank. Otherwise, you have to pick up the missile tank. And that's the reason why this part is really dangerous if you're doing a low percent category, because you don't want that missile tank. Dodging items in 0% or 1% is really a chore at times. Get a free refill at the ship, it's lovely. Turns out the ship is actually, well, hit by a power outage, no big surprise. And some stuff is choking up the power supply. But first, before we can investigate all of that, we have to turn the auxiliary power on. So we'll make our way to that. And that's the reason why I laid that power bomb here, to clear these blocks here. So now we can make our way to that. We're about to get into what's called a boss gauntlet. Few bosses in quick succession. So this is the part where things get a little bit more technical. But we're gonna deal with it. This energy tank is all... Most of us pick up this energy tank. It's on the way. Can be a bit treacherous to have to try and jump over it in 1% or 0%. Yeah, those space pirates here can get really annoying in the way. Power bombs are useful to clear your road ahead if you time them properly. So, either, how many beams am I gonna get? It's just one. This is one of the most annoying bosses in the game, so I won't talk much for now. Okay. What a good opening. Okay. Time to switch. Ooh, okay, this is gotta be difficult. I'm not done yet, but I'm in the safe zone right now. Basically the boss, what I was doing there by getting grabbed is trying to speed up the rounds, because I want it to open its mouth faster so I can damage it. I need missiles. No missile drops. Come on, give me a green axe. That's fine, I have enough health. It's not, I'm a bit low on missiles. Come on. Okay, this should do. Please, one more, let this be enough. Okay. Whew. That was a bit more rough than I would have liked. I got a terrible RNG and getting the missiles in didn't work well. The second part, the part where it starts jumping around, is the really annoying part, because you have to play sort of volleyball with it. And if you run out of missiles, then you are stuck with charge beam. And getting the timing with charge beam is tough, because you basically have barely enough time to charge up your charge beam before you have to hit it with it, and it spits out parts. It's a terrible boss fight, really. And I've gotten my health got really low. Luckily, I managed to pull through. Yeah, the Yakuza is a notorious boss. It's definitely the hardest boss in the game, I feel, in my personal opinion. But but once you get through, it's fine. And this SCX encounter, yeah, it's really a scripted encounter. Especially since I know the shortcuts, so we're out of the SCX encounter. It's a really scary one, because you really get close to the SVX there. But yeah, we turned the auxiliary power on, but so now we're gonna investigate what actually caused the power outage. Luckily, there are these plants, which are apparently choking up the reactor. We're gonna clear them, so the next boss, which will be in the room after this room. Whoa. Well, it's the reason we need that many missiles. Yeah, it's really the bosses are in rather short succession. And this boss takes 42 missiles to go down. But we also want to prepare for the beam core fight, so that's why we alternated with charge beam shots, missiles, and power bombs, because each of those missiles, charge beam shots and power bombs do the damage of one missile roughly. Okay. I kind of want a more... excuse me. Getting doubles. I'm notoriously bad at getting doubles on this one. But we got it down. So this Beam Core X drops Plasma Beam. Plasma Beam does can hit multiple enemies and does damage for each frame it's inside of the enemy. And that's an important thing. And that will make this beam really powerful. And it will use that property of it doing damage for each frame it's inside of the enemy. We use that property to our advantage at multiple points in the remaining part of the run. Well, with the power bombs we can clear most of the enemies. Those Kai hunters, those bees with their stingers out, do the most damage out of any enemy in the game. They do 137 points of damage, which is 1.5 E-tank. Really something you don't want to encounter in want to run into, for example, if you're doing a low percent run, because at that point you only have 99 points of energy, so yeah, it's an insta-kill. So we solved the power issue by clearing the plants. So we get sent to Sector 5 to investigate what's going on over there, because apparently something's wreaking havoc, and we're gonna check out what it is. Taking a brisk walking pace over there. And this time I'm gonna set up for the same try for the same Shine Spark again, and this time I really wanna get it, because it's the coolest. It's the coolest. One of the coolest Shine Sparks in this game, and it's a really big time saver. So hopefully I get the setup right. Because everything in the sector got destroyed, everything is open, so you can Shine Spark all the way to where you basically have to be. Yes! Okay. We go Shine Sparking through 5 rooms straight. So yeah, that's really cool. It's by far the longest Shine Spark in this game. Single Shine Spark, I should say. Can make really long chains. Definitely you can. But right now, yeah, we're in the back part of the Sector 5. And because it got damaged, the ice melted, so it's all flooded. And we have to deal with underwater physics for now. Luckily we get out of the water soon. To, well, the second hardest boss of the game. At least the hardest boss to learn properly if you start out speedrunning. Yeah, this idor is not cooperating. If you want to get this item, it's intended that you use the tunnel on top. You can, however, if you morph quickly, also do ledge grab that tunnel and get to the E-tank that way. For this boss, you want to damage the cannon first. You need to damage the cannon. Okay. That's the first phase done. If it would, you would still have the white beam, charge beam shot. You would have done more damage with white beam. Unfortunately, because you have plasma beam and the hitbox of the enemy is only 1 pixel wide, you do more damage using missiles, so that's why we spam missiles here. And this boss is fully, is no RNG involved, so it's all down to manipulation, and that's what makes it a hard boss, because it's tough to get the manipulation down properly for this boss. Oh, good boss fight. So right now we're getting the gravity suit, and the gravity suit not only gives us a lot of better color, but it also allows us to not be hindered by the physics of water. Which means we can run in underwater, we can do whatever we want underwater in the suit. Ain't it great? We can do shine sparks, speed boosts. And the shine sparks are lovely. And we take a lot less damage with each suit upgrade, I should also mention that. So right now we're setting up for a speed boost because we're entering sector 4. Ooh, got space boost. Space boosting is when you combine speed booster and your space jump. Space jump is the upgrade we got from Yakuza earlier. Allows us to jump indefinitely in the air. But if you combine that with speed booster, you have well, the effectively together with the shine spark, the fastest movement in the game. And this underwater sector is really treacherous because these enemies deal a ton of damage. So you're like, oh, Nightmare, the previous boss is done. We're gonna have an easy time, and then before you know it, you're in the red beeping part, and where your health is saying, you're out of health. You really need to be careful here. Luckily, with some practice, this isn't too terribly bad. But it's definitely a sector where you need to be careful. Because your health can go down pretty quickly. Luckily, the strats are really consistent. If you time your shots, that room is always done the same way. Then you can easily clear it in no time at all. These enemies with their shots can be a bit annoying. Freeze that enemy, yes. If they can get in your way. But right now I'm setting up for another space boost. If I jump too early, then I need to do a backup speed boost chain. Okay, this is not going great. Well, we cleared the room. We're almost out of there. We had to open up a security level to get further into the sector and get out of here. And as a result, we can get this upgrade here at this data room, the fusion missiles. If you charge your, if you hold the missile button and you fire a missile, then it's well, fully charged. Then it fires off this ring, the fusion ring, as you see here. It can freeze things. There are alternate ways to get out of this sector. In the English version, you can use a, you can curve your missile shot and freeze that enemy, but the game won't let you continue because it works within the event system. Another way to get out of it is using a shine spark chain. The creators were aware of this and they added a secret message you can get as a result. So it's really cool. It's really cool Easter egg. Definitely challenging to get that shine spark. Maybe for some other BSG. So yeah, Sector 5, threats cleared, and there's... remember that security robot we fought earlier, that one thing called Box? Well, it invaded Sector 6. So we get sent on the way to clear it and get out of the sector as quickly as we can. We don't know why we get that command, but we'll find out soon. Getting down deeper into Sector 6 is quite easy with the new upgrades we get. And we'll use this part to set up for a space boost. I jumped too soon. Yeah, those clever enemies are still in the way. Still annoying, but luckily, right now I have something called ice missiles. This is the only part where ice missiles are actually useful, on account of them being on account of them freezing the enemies, and puffers, you want to freeze them, not damage them. It's the only part where they're actually useful. So we're gonna check out what's down here. Luckily our plasma beam and all other beams make quick work here. But we run into a wall because we have no authorization for this segment. Okay, that's weird. Was there something hidden over here? Well, we'll find out about that. But first, you hear the rumbling already. We're gonna run into a good friend Box, which got invaded by X-Parasite, so we now call it Xbox. Lovely name. Xbox got a few new moves. But Xbox is deceptively dangerous. There's electricity on the water, so you don't want to fall down. And the beam core X that appears after this phase got down is deceptively dangerous. You can take a lot of damage from that. Okay, I should be fine. I have enough health. Okay, right now we got the wave beam, and now our beam can travel through walls. And since we don't have any other way to go at the moment, we're just gonna check out that forbidden sector. Because I'm really curious right now. Yeah, the voice acting in this game is amazing. The emergency in Sector 3, the warning no entry without authorization. Well, we do have entry without authorization. So we're gonna get into trouble. I love it. I really love it. So this game is called Metroid. Well, how about showing you some Metroids? Because right now we're in the secret laboratory. Turns out that the Galactic Federation had a secret Metroid breeding program on this space colony. Yeah, if you jump through the door, then the Metroids line up, actually. It's a really funny thing. Okay, that's relatively fast. You have a minute to escape that room. The Metroid movements are a bit random, so you have to move on the fly around them. And that can be a bit tricky, but most of the speedrunners can clear it within 6 to 7-ish seconds. You can get bad luck. It's a bit of a shame if you take more than 10 seconds, but it has happened at times. Well, the computer now explains to us, okay, you interrupted the secret breeding program. You shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. But also, there are at least 10 SAXs on board of the ship, because X-Parasites reproduce well, rather easily. They can just separate and reproduce. So there's 10 of the SEX, 10 SEXs on board. Sounds like a dangerous situation, so we need to get away to the top of the ship. I use the fusion missiles to good effect here, because for some reason frozen enemy physics are a bit weird. Look, you can spin jump through the smaller ones. That might be too low. Oh. The enemies in this room that spawn right now, the golden pirates, you need to shoot them in the back, or if you turn around quickly enough, you can shoot them normally and then just turn around quickly, because the game only checks if you're facing the same way. That's how it knows you shot it in the back, so you can abuse that way it's programmed. So remember, this is gonna get loud, ladies and gentlemen. Remember our good old friend Ridley? Ooh, lovely. I love that scream. Yeah, Ridley is rather easy, and we do fire the shots diagonally in order to maximize our damage output, because then the beam is inside the enemy for the longest amount of time. So that's the first phase down. Was it a double? No, it wasn't. We're almost done with this fight, because this part is really easy. Got it. Okay. Yeah, Ridley is just a matter of tanking the charge beam into its hitbox. It's not that big a deal, but Ridley's rather loud, as you may have heard. It's always the fun part if you're wearing headsets. So yeah, Ridley gave the X-Parasite infected Ridley gave us the screw attack. So if you spin jump into enemy, normal enemy, it dies. Apparently my diffusion missile shot earlier didn't reach that one block, but that's fine. Right now we're making our way through Sector 1 to the top. Yeah, screw attack is really useful here, because I can just deal with about anything that I encounter. Right now we're in the familiar parts of Sector 1. This is where we cleared the fans about an hour earlier, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, we're making our way to the top. We take a little shortcut through the lava here, because we don't take damage from lava due to the gravity suit. It's lovely. So, who's ready for some tech smashing? Because we're almost at the end. So basically have this navigation room, and then it's off to the final boss. But yeah, basically we get scolded here. We shouldn't have done that, cleared the lab. But the Galactic Federation is actually interested in capturing the X-Parasite and use them as a weapon. However, our protagonist disagrees, because they're too dangerous to be kept alive. They can infect anything they see and kill it, and then everything in the galaxy is in danger. So our protagonist wants to rebel, wants to blow up the entire spaceship to clear the X-Parasites. I should note, throughout the game, several references have been made to a certain Adam. Adam was one of the former commanders of Samus Aran, and she called the computer after him. But it actually turns out that the computer we're dealing with is actually a digitized version of him. And she actually manages to convince him to blow up the station, but he suggests even a better plan. To just alter the orbit of the station to crash into the planet, just blow up the planet as well. And the planet is also where the X-Parasites came from, so that should eradicate all of them. So, now that we're out of the text, we're going to face the final boss, the final two bosses, I should say. Well, one of the two you can already guess, the SAX. gonna face off against ourselves. Second one I'll leave a little bit of a surprise for now. Although if you're familiar with the games, then you should already know. Luckily with our upgrades we can take a little bit of a shortcut through the main deck, because our goal is to get towards the control room, and the control room is basically on top of the first data room where we got our missiles. All the way at the start of the game, so... in 100% normally you would do a big cleanup using shortcuts between the sectors to clear up all sectors one by one. We do that actually a little bit earlier and take the navigation room somewhere around here. So, who's ready for some SAX action? Because I hopefully am. Because this fight also makes use of the charge beam diagonal shots. But I need to be careful. Okay, I messed up the fight. That's fine. We'll do the ground fight. Ground fight is easy if you're used to it. And I have to do this backup so many times during my speedrunning career. Because what you basically want to do is freeze, fire the plasma shot diagonally, freeze. You do that in a certain pattern and then you can end the fight rather quickly. Whoa, I need to be careful. Okay. I need to be on top of my health now. Okay. I'm in the clear. Luckily, the second phase is rather easy due to its large hitbox. And the beam core you can just trap under a platform and then fire the shots into it. So this is a really safe section, luckily. You can choose to take a little bit more risk to get the double missiles in, but at this amount of missile upgrades it's really hard to get that. So, we changed the orbits and we have a classical escape sequence. I love the Metroid series for that. Ending on a little bit of a surge of action. I want to ask the tech guy to get ready on the timer, since we'll be done within the next few minutes. Ah, didn't get the strats. Can morph and fall right in between. You can also do a spin jump zigzag, which is a bit more difficult. But first we're gonna try and get this spark properly. A bit tough to time. Nope, few pixels too high. So, because we get to the ship hangar, but our ship is gone, and we get to the final boss of the game, the Omega Metroid. And Omega Metroid is the last phase in the Metroid lifecycle, and they are dangerous predators. So, all hope is lost, we get hit, we're down to our last health, but the SCX come in to save us. We couldn't get the core X from the SCX earlier, so she tries to save us. X-Parasites and Metroids are natural enemies after all, but luckily we now get the upgrades. We get the Ice Beam, and the Ice Beam is a perfect weapon against a Metroid. Yeah, those plows are no joke, because they deal single tank of damage. Okay, down. Get ready on the timer. Metroid is done, ship will pick us up. So, get ready. Time. Not bad. Whew. Okay, I see a 122.55 on the screen if I look correctly.
That is correct. GG Boxmeister. Well done.
Within estimate, lovely. Since this is definitely not a PB, I'm 4 minutes behind my PB with this run. I'm gonna think we're gonna skip the credits and get the schedule
Yeah,
moving along.
I think we're gonna just move on to Silent Hill here. Thank you, Boxmeister, for your run of Metroid Fusion.
It was a pleasure.
We'll be going into a quick ad break in a moment, and after that we'll be back with Silent Hill. Hopefully in the meantime we can get some of the problems fixed, which I don't think are going to be as much of a problem for the next run, but we'll find out. We'll see after when we get back. That'll also be it for me as a host. I'll be giving it over to Katil, who'll be hosting for Silent Hill. And yeah, enjoy the upcoming runs.